California Speedway opened in 1997 on the site of the former Kaiser Steel Mill that produced steel starting in World War II and up until 1983. They cleaned up the property from an EPA issue that was here. Kaiser Ventures and Penske, then Motorsports, getting together. The only remaining visual evidence of the steel mill, the old water tower that sits in the infield of this racetrack. Better than 100,000 on hand tonight watching the NASCAR Next L Cup Series race being led by Jeremy Mayfield. After Brian Vickers led the opening 9 laps, Mayfield took the lead at lap 10 and has stretched out his advantage on Vickers to 1.4 seconds. Kurt Busch, Greg Biffle, Bill Elliott are now the rest of your top 5. Jeremy Mayfield, the 2000 winner here at the California Speedway. Best finish so far, 2004. A pair of runner-up spots. And the overriding picture for that 19 team, they're on the outside looking in where the championship is concerned.
Here's a pretty good battle between Bill Elliott in car number 98 and Jeff Gordon in 24. That's a battle for the 5th position. Matt, what are they saying?
Well, Ray Evernham has 2 cars trying to lock in a spot for that chase for the championship. Bill Elliott, he is here just for one thing. That's to win. His last 2 starts here, 2 4th-place finishes, telling Sammy Johns early on, my car is tight, much like it was in the final practice session, to Bill.
And Matt just wanted to point out the 24 car of Jeff Gordon now also has a small amount of paper on the grill, and his car starting to overheat as well.
Boy, it could be so costly. A little hot dog wrapper.
I'll tell you what, when those cars went down in turn 1 on that first lap, we saw all that paper flying around. You and I both looked at each other and said, there'll be trouble, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And somebody might say, well, why was all that there? Well, look, you put 100,000 people into a sports stadium, there's going to be a few hot dog wrappers.
They got to eat. And look, all of a sudden, Jeremy Mayfield losing ground to Brian Vickers. Vickers goes by, retakes the lead in that 25 car.
So second time tonight, Vickers has been out in front.
Dave, what's going on with the 19?
He's got to get that paper off the grill. That is what he's got to do, so they had to pull back and try to move back up to Vickers. He's up to 240 now on water temp.
So you're saying he dropped back behind Vickers intentionally to try and get that the
That is correct, Alan, absolutely.
Okay. It looks like he has 2 pieces of paper, possibly, one on both sides of the grill. And 240 is still okay. You don't want to run at 240. Like I said, I was up to 260 yesterday for a few laps, but you don't want it to get any hotter than that. And you see the paper on both sides there, clear plastic and some white paper. So that's obviously worth about probably 10 or 15 degrees of water temperature.
Makes the car handle a little bit better. We talk about the downforce, but it comes at a cost.
Let's check back on the race for 7th place. Mark Martin has just gone through Casey Kane. And now Kane trying to get around his teammate, Bill Elliott, who is sliding back just a little bit.
Yeah, you can tell Elliott's car's not turning very well. He's sliding up off the corners very high when the other cars are being able to get down underneath him. Now he's going to try the low line. He's got a real push right there. From the throttle off, the car slides up the racetrack.
I'll tell you somebody who's struggling, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8. He started in 12th position. He's about to be overtaken for 29th, Bill.
And that's never good, just complaining that the car is tight. And one thing about Dale Earnhardt Jr., the tires they run here at Michigan and some other tracks, he basically has not been able to get a feel for the car. In fact, they even went and tested on this set of tires at Kentucky, and they didn't have a very good test because the same thing happened. Junior just cannot get the feel for the racetrack when they run these types of tires on these flat, big tracks.
Yeah, and that last time, Bill, getting off of turn 2, you can hear him lift. Let's listen to the throttle as he goes down into 1. He'll get off the gas, let it float. And he's off the gas for a long time.
Hey, Wally, they said this morning if we gave him a top 10, they just put it on the truck and take it home.
Yeah, when you're struggling that much, yeah, you'd be lucky to get a top 10, but he is struggling. That car's not turning very well. And when you have to get out of the gas, especially when you're driving off the corner, you're really in trouble.
And I talked to the Uris, the crew chief and the car chief on this car, Tony Jr. and C this morning, and asked him, well, you've got a racetrack, Kansas, coming up similar to this. Are you going there and test? yes, we're going there and test, but we really don't know what's going on. We went to Michigan, tested this 8 car for 2 days, and thought we'd learn something. We go around the race, found out we didn't learn a thing. And here we are in California, same result. So we just got to really somehow work hard to try to find what they're missing.
So you see Dale Jr.'s free fall through the standings. To this point, he's racing Scott Wimmer for 31st place. The Wendy's race menu next Saturday night, Richmond, Virginia, on a 3/4 mile short track. The drivers that'll be in the chase for the Nextel Cup decided on TNT, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Then those final 10 races to determine who'll be the champion begin at New Hampshire International Speedway on September 19th on TNT. Then it's on to the Monster Mile in Dover, then Talladega, world's fastest speedway, and that's what's coming up on the Wendy's race menu. Brian Vickers is the race leader here at the California Speedway, just about to put 50 miles in the book through the field when NASCAR on NBC continues. I'm beginning to feel like a jinx. Every time we promise it through the field, there's a caution comes out. This one for some debris in turn 3. That has brought the yellow flag out for the first time in this race.
I've been saying you're a jinx for a long time.
Yeah, I know you have. Most of the front runners are staying out, but here, well, let's see. We got some crossing the grass, some going in, some going out.
Greg Biffle will bring his car down pit road, giving up the 4th position. I really can't believe that some of these guys did not pit.
Tony Stewart is also on pit road. He moved all the way up to 14th place from his 33rd starting spot. Most everybody else on track, Dave.
Well, Greg Biffle's going to pass all the way through pit road and not stop in his pit. That's the report on 16, Bill.
And the 20 of Tony Stewart coming down pit road, making his stop. They battled this car yesterday, as we talked about in the Discover Card Countdown to Green. Seemed to get a little better in the second session. Worked on the left front spring to try and give Tony a little better handle on the racetrack.
I guess some of these guys have stopped. Well, I think Harvick stopped because he had to, because he was awful. He was back in 33rd or something like that, so they probably need to make some big adjustments.
I don't understand why Biffle, once he came down pit road, he was going to have to start.
It was closed now after they said it was open, and they said we pitted too soon. We didn't pit.
Oh, pit road was closed, is what they're saying. And that's why Biffle chose not to.
Well,
that was a good move on his part.
They had some people fooled because they were coming down onto the pit lane and then drove across the grass to get back out. So it's going to be Greg Biffle, Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, and Brendan Gaughan, who will have pitted before pit road was open.
You know, these drivers are being told what to do most of the time. So that's up to the spotter and the crew chiefs to know that.
Okay, now then. They will certainly come down pit road. Now we saw the flagman out in the grass waving the green flag, signifying pit road is open, and here they all come. Oh man, what a tough break for Biffle.
All right, Marty, go ahead.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of confusion on many drivers' parts. Alan Jamie McMurray said, why is everybody coming to pit road? I think it's closed. A little tight for the 42 car. He's gone from 23rd to 11th, a pound in the right rear tire, Matt.
Not much confusion here in the 6. He was free, made a chassis adjustment and also an air pressure adjustment. Today,
by the time Jeremy Mayfield came onto pit road, both pieces of trash had fallen off. They're making no adjustments to this car. It's operating very well for Jeremy. Bill.
Rookie Brian Vickers in the 25, top of your screen, really cool, wasn't fooled at all at the pit in. His car's just a little tight. They want to loosen him up. He wanted to get back to the throttle a little bit better. Also working on the line he's running on the racetrack.
And the big rush off the pit lane.
Good pit stop by Mark Martin's group. I think Mark did a good job on pit road because his pit stop we showed you was about 14 seconds, but he comes out second spot.
So Brian Vickers holds the lead off of the series of pit stops.
Now, you know, I also say that sometimes I mean, the driver does have a responsibility too to look at that guy right there to see what flag he's waving, and you can certainly see that it's red. I'm just curious why some of these guys came down. They must have got the word that the pits were open.
From their spotters?
From the spotters or their crew chief.
Well, obviously they were wrong. And so they're going to end up losing a lot of track position. We'll figure out where Greg Biffle is going to restart in a minute. He gave up 4th for that unnecessary stop.